All right, guys, so back to our polo, and I have actually reset my fabric. I went back to the knit piqué jersey, okay? Again, remember when you click on the fabric, you're gonna get all of the information up at the top. And what I wanna spend a little time doing is customizing this polo with the thought that we're gonna continue to customize it in multiple colorways. And so what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I want to recolor the sleeves and the collar differently than the body. And to do that, I'm going to need multiple fabrics here. So with Knit Piqué Jersey selected, I'm going to go ahead and hit copy. Okay. And now I've got two versions of the same fabric that I can assign different values to. And so using the copy, I'm going to go ahead and come down here to the bottom, and bottom is incorrect. I'm going to just scroll down a little bit so I can get to the texture. And even though it looks fairly white, it's a little bit grayed out. So I'm just going to make sure that it's desaturated. And I'm going to go ahead and assign a color to it. And I've clicked on color and I'm going to assign black. And I'm going to hit OK. And you can rename the information here, just like in Photoshop. If this were a layer, I could come in and more clearly identify what this fabric is. So I'm just going to go ahead and label it black. So later I'm not confused, maybe thinking it's a dark charcoal or it's a navy or some such thing. And then I'm going to come back. Well, actually, I'll stay on the black for a moment. And let's go ahead and assign that, as I said, to the sleeves. And I'll assign it to the collar as well. Okay, so I've got those selected, and I'm just going to drag over my black fabrics. I can click off just to get rid of my gizmo, and I'll right click just to rotate around. Okay, and just ensure that looks the way I expect it to. Okay, and then for the body, I'm going to go ahead and assign a pattern to it. And again, to do that, I'm going to go to Library. I'm going to navigate to where I have my patterns. Okay, again, mine is under CLO academic training, and I had to click around to it. Navigate to wherever yours is, and just go ahead and locate a print that you would like to work with. In this instance, I'm going to use a stripe because I want to just point out that some of these little previews are going to look different than you expect. These are tiles that are being used to replicate your pattern again and again. And so when it comes to something like a stripe, I don't actually need a full square to do that. So some of these will look more like a strip or a cuff or something on the end of a shirt, but it's a repeat. So I'm going to put myself on the original Knit Piqué jersey. I'm going to ensure that I can see texture, so I can click and drag this over and place it on top. Okay. Since the body and the placket of my polo was already assigned to this particular fabric, as I updated the print, it automatically updated the body of my shirt. Okay. So that's the difference. It didn't happen earlier when I recolored this black. Okay, this was already assigned to the body of the shirt. That's why I went ahead and recolored. Okay, and I'll zoom in again just a little bit. Adjust my view, twirl him around. Okay, I'm pretty happy with the way this is looking. Now you're going to see these yellow lines. Remember, that's just indicating that it's selected. Okay, and while I'm a little bit more zoomed in on him, and actually I'll make it easier, I'll go ahead and focus on my 3D view. And I'll just zoom in a little bit, move him around. I'm actually going to come over here and grab my edit texture. Okay, and actually to make that work I need to have something selected. Okay, and then I'll come to edit texture, and you're gonna see this little gizmo becomes available, and I can use the gizmo, and if I hover over the curved arrow I can actually rotate the print. Okay, if I hold shift, it'll do it in set 45, 90. I can get that to, it'll click. Okay, you'll see that come down and click there. You'll also see that if you use the center diagonal line, you can scale the pattern up or down uniformly. Okay, and actually I kind of like it a little bit larger. You'll also see that you've got horizontal and vertical lines that you can use. I would avoid using those. What it's going to do is warp your pattern. It's going to make it either wider or taller. It won't constrain the proportions. It may not be that big a deal with this stripe, but if you're using a leaf or something that's easily identifiable, your pattern may start to look a little wonky. Okay. You've also got this little gizmo here that you can use. You can click and drag it. It's not super impactful here with my stripe, but you can see that you can move the fabric around. So if I were trying to match a pattern on the body to the sleeve and I wanted it to look like they were cut to match, I could use this gizmo to help me achieve that. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and rotate, okay, just to preview the back and make sure that's looking the way I expected. Okay, that did alter and change as I changed the front. So I'm just going to go ahead and click off. I'll go back to my move tool. Okay, and I'm happy with this. I could go and change the button colors, but I'm not going to do that just for the sake of time. Okay. Now, this entire time we've been working in simulation mode. Okay, that should make sense because we've been simulating. I can simulate now. I can come over and grab the fabric. I can play with this. It's all laying very nicely on his body, so I don't need to be fiddling with it. So I'm going to turn simulation off. But what I want to do now is I actually want to create multiple colorways. And to do that, you have a drop down under simulation, and I'll grab colorway. Okay. And your screen's going to change. I'm going to go ahead and close library so I have a little bit more room to work. And you'll see that it has saved all of this information as my first colorway. And I can go ahead and add a second one by clicking on this little plus sign. Okay, I can go ahead and give it a name. I'll just go ahead and change it to colorway B. Okay, and what it did was essentially just duplicate exactly what I already had here. So I want to go ahead and make some changes. Okay, so I'm on this colorway. I'll go ahead and click on the black fabric here. I can go ahead and maybe change the color. Okay. I could also come in and edit the stripe. Okay, and actually I'm trying to make this match. So while I'm on my solid, I'll click on that color and grab the hexadecimal. I'll go to my print. Under texture, remember you can desaturate it, so I'll take the color away and then I'll add some color. And I'll use the same color code. Okay. I'm not a huge fan of the way this is looking right now, but I'm going to go ahead and accept it just to continue moving through my tutorial. And you're going to see again that I've updated my fabrics, but my picture doesn't look any different. So you just need to hit update. Okay, and you'll see that now I've got two. I'll go ahead and do one more. I'll call it colorway C. Okay, and again, I'll come in and recolor. And for this one, rather than continuing to use the stripe that I'm not as in love with, I'll open my library. Okay, I'm just going to scroll to make sure I can see texture, and I'll just bring over a different print. Okay, now that print did load, okay, but remember it's got this red fill on top of it. So I could come over, okay, and remove the desaturation, and I could change the color back to white. Okay, so the green shows through, and of course that blue is not looking so great anymore, so I'm going to change the blue sleeves. I'll just grab something that looks like it will work for now, and I'll go ahead and update. Okay, and again, you can see another colorway has been loaded. Okay, I'll be back in a moment to go over how to export all of this information and show you all of the different ways you can capture different views of the garment itself and how you'll be sharing those files with me.